Hi guys, welcome once again to your favorite YouTube channel, AFCON the writer. As you've always done, do not forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment and share. Please put your comment in the comment section, and when you subscribe, do not forget to turn on the notification button so that you can get the notification anytime we upload or share a new video content. Once again, I'm very grateful to you guys for subscribing to the channel. You guys have made the channel look so exciting. So what are we doing today? We are doing a simple thing. We are doing a recap or a review of the interview the Ghana Football Association President Mr. Edwin Simon Okeraku had with GTV Sports Plus on Friday. The GFA President touched on a number of pertinent issues. One, the Black Stars of Ghana and their performance in the 2021 AFCON in Cameroon. He also touched on the Black Stars' qualification to the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. He touched on the Ghana Premier League. He touched on Accra House of Folk, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and a number of issues involving the Ghanaian football as a product. Mr. Edwin Simon Okeraku also did an assessment of his term as the GFA President. We have all these packages lined up for you. So sit back and enjoy the video. But don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share and comment.
Folks, we've been privileged to have the president of the Ghana Football Association with us to do an interview to look at how we can send ourselves to the next level. Obviously, from the despair of Garuwa to the ecstasy of Abuja in a space of just a month should tell you that the sort of job that this man handles is not the one for faint-hearted people. Ked, thanks for coming to the program. Probably want to start with all the vitriolic attacks on you after Garuwa, and then within a space of a month, you're suddenly the savior. I mean, I know it's an addict we have in this country. Don't do well, then you're being crucified and whatnot. But to go through the hustle, has it really been worth it?
Well, I think that I've always been motivated by the high level of passion I have for football and my insatiable desire to do my utmost best, not only for the sport but for our dear country, and that has been the big motivation for me. Yes, we had a very challenging outing at the AFCON, to be honest. Things didn't go the way we expected, and having gone through that, it was very obvious that we needed to look at ourselves internally, look at what went on, and to take the right decisions. And I think that as a team, as a unit, as a family, we did. The result is that the Black Stars looks like they are coming back alive again. Still a lot of work to be done, to be honest, but we should celebrate the victory, our qualification, and we should be motivated enough for the next phase of our development.
Let's go through this process of the Black Stars qualifying before we go into the details of what the plans are and all those sort of good things that you may have. Having said that, I can imagine the sort of pressure now on you. One, bring ABC. No, don't bring ABC. Even me, I've spoken behind the scenes, and I'll tell you what you know. No. Have you been getting that sort of vibe from people, and then trying to quotation marks dictate to you who and who should be united?
Well, let me say that we love football in this country. Everybody in this country is a lover of the sport called football, and therefore we tend to believe that as individuals, everybody has a role to play. or a contribution to make in our attempt to be victors. So people would come up with their ideas, just like my good self, just like your good self. At the end of the day, it's up to the management of the team, it's up to the Think Art team to take the right decisions for our dear country. And I think that that's what has happened in the past, and that's what will happen going forward.
Okay, so let's move this forward, because I had the privilege of also interviewing you in the run-up to the elections, which you were successful, and then also the one that they had, the debate, the panel debate, as it were. Having now been in the position for fast approaching 3 years, September or October, that will be 3 years, has it been a bit more difficult than you thought it would, in terms of you had lofty ideas, and I remember very well, but the key thing was how are we going to finance it? Now that you're actually sitting in there, has it been that relatively easy to get the program going?
Well, I would say that overall we've done pretty well. Yes, it's been quite challenging, to be honest, given the deep level of interest by the 30 million plus people who would always want to have a stake and a say, and our desire also to take on board a lot of the ideas that people tend to preach. So it's always going to be challenging, but if we look back over 2.5 years, I think we've done very well. The results are showing. I've always said that we need to get the fundamentals right, and a lot of the time that we spent the first 2 years was to look at the foundation of our sport, was to look at juvenile football, was to look at the female side of the sport, was to look at the infrastructure, was to look at the secretariat, was to look at the staff, and how to get the staff motivated for the heavy task ahead of all of us. In between time, obviously, we had to be competitive on the international front, at club level, at the national team level. At least we qualified for the U20 World Cup, albeit the fact that the tournament was cancelled. We are currently the AFCON champions. The other bright spot, the U20 having qualified to the World Cup, the U17 girls and the U20 girls, U17 girls are also in line, hopefully for qualification. U17 boys are going to compete at the WAFO level very soon, U20 same. I think that, and then obviously the Black Stars finally making it to the World Cup, which is the most prized
cherry on the
platform.
The cherry on the cake.
Yeah, cherry on the cake, if you wish to call it so. After the challenging performance at the AFCON, so it's been a good period for Ghanaian football, and our most recent performance has put our dear country on the world map again.
Great. You spoke about the fundamentals of getting the fundamentals right, and I don't want to drift into politics, but the moment I hear fundamentals, the first thing I think of is the Vice President Bamia when he was then campaigning the fundamentals. What fundamentals are you talking about here?
Okay, so first of all, one had to look at the administrative setup of the Football Association. Mm-hmm. The fact that we did a good SWOT analysis. We needed to strengthen the staff, to find the people with the right skill set. We set up new departments which hitherto were not in existence. We introduced the HR department, the marketing department, the national teams department. Of course, integrity officer was engaged. I did say about HR already. The Think Art Directorate was established for the first time. And that Think Art Directorate is manned by more than one person. In the time past, we had Coach Otia Kenton be the Think Art Director of the FA, and he's been was always the only person who worked in that department. We have a team of 6-7 at the moment working in that department. Then we energize Pram staff wise. We brought in Lawyer Prosper Harrison Ado from MTN to join the family here as the General Secretary. And then on the regional levels, across the 10 regions, we had to also improve the quality of the staff. So that was one fundamental work that we had to fix. Beyond that, juvenile football had not been played in a long while. We got juvenile football back across all districts in the country. We managed to get KGL to be interested in investing $1 million over a 5-year tenure in juvenile football, which has been massive. We got Max TV to telecast juvenile football live in this country. And then we brought back the juvenile festivals, the Interclub Champions League. The first one was staged last year. The second one will be coming up soon. This year we're going to have the Inter-Regional Championship, also juvenile football. And then we've also had massive investments in the female sport, female football. Ladies are now playing on good pitches, on AstroTurfs across the country. The league was increased from 16 to 20 clubs. We had YE investing in the league. We had Woodin investing in the league. We had Decathlon investing in the league. We had a good working relationship with UEFA Assists. And then in most recent times, we've had a partner in Betway who are also heavily investing in the Women's Premier League. Beyond that, the Women's Premier League is live on TV again. That's quite historic for us to have the female game on free-to-air TV in this country. The result is that Sekedi Hazakers became the WAFU champions. They went on to be runners-up at the AFCON Champions League, which is historic. And I'm sure that very soon they're going to receive their prize money for doing well at the AFCON. The Black Princesses are at the World Cup. Maidens are in a good situation. So you can see clearly the quantum of investment that we have made, or the quantum of attention we're giving to the women's game. And which is very, very important for us. We had a long aging problem with the ownership of the land in Tempram, the technical center. We are close to we're close to securing, shall I say, ownership of the land in Tempram.
But that's interesting. Sorry to interrupt your thought, but that's interesting. Yeah, we didn't have the ownership of the land.
No. We didn't have the ownership.
Okay.
We had problems with the owners. Well, we first had one owner. The ownership right was challenged in court, and then the new owners had to engage us. We had to negotiate, and we are almost close to finishing that line. Okay, so I think that we are ticking the boxes rightly, and hopefully we will say that yes, we are the true owners of the land in Pampram. We want to invest in that land to be the true home of the technical development of our sport. And I'm sure that once that is done, everybody will be happy.
Right, we'll go for a short break.
Afsha smashing the ball in off the woodwork to make it 2-0 for the Red Devils.
It's time for continental class. Time to know the teams. Time to know the players. Time to know what forms the true fabric of African football. It's the Confederations Cup.
There it is, Raja have done it. Raja Club Athletic have won it. They're the first Moroccan team to have won the Confederations Cup on 2 occasions.
And Champions League
Are the winners of the 2021 Total Energies Champions League.
coming to you live on GTV Sports Plus. Watch the CAF Interclub competition on GTV Sports Plus live and in HD. GTV Sports Plus. The legends live here. Ghana is hosting the rest of Africa, that is 54 countries, to compete in over 20 sporting disciplines in Accra in August 2023. Join us, experience the African dream.
Aim for, and Neuer is beaten. Ghana with the equaliser.
The stage is set after the sporting dust has settled. Emotions arise. The panelists yearn for more time. Sunday Night Live is here to discover, discuss, diversify, and develop the analysis for our sports to improve. is at 8 p.m. on Sunday, only on GTV Sports Plus. Sunday Night Live, your complete sports is a show. Great stuff. I mean, now that we've settled with the pamper, let's go into, like, quotation marks, the development of football in terms of, let's start with the Premier League and then we go down. Let's do, right. We've got some level of sponsorship in terms of TV rights, but we don't have a headline sponsor. The clubs have been complaining in terms of not getting enough money. So any least opportunity, I'm sure they come banging on your door. I'm sending Kwesi Amankwa off. I need my ITC. As somebody who has studied the game on our side as a journalist, practiced it before, coming into the admin, being part of the family, and then now getting to the highest, how do you deal with clubs that are saying, we're not listening to anything, we want him out, this is our player? Parents walk into this door and bang the door. What do you do?
Well, it's a very complicated subject matter, to be honest. And we are talking about migration of players.
Absolutely.
Generally speaking, transfer revenue is a key revenue stream in football. This is what we've been made to know. In the Western world, it remains a key revenue stream. Whether in England, in Portugal, in Germany, it is a key revenue stream. In the South Americas, it's even, somebody will say, it's a much bigger revenue stream. Same is applicable here in Ghana. So clubs would forever continue to rely on transfer revenue to feed club operations. And once there is freedom of movement, it becomes very, very difficult for anybody to say that, look, don't allow the kid to go. For me, what's most important is the quantum of our investment in our strategy to replace the intangible assets who jump on the train or on the flight to go to the next level or to fight for greener pastures. It's very difficult for you to stop the kids to travel, but it's also necessary for us to find creative ways of continuously investing in the youth. Okay, and if you remember, we have encouraged and will continue to encourage our clubs to invest in the youth, because once a talent leaves, it means an attraction is gone. It means it affects the value of your domestic league, but it also means that you are challenged to find the next Messi or the next Carter to fill that void, and that has been the biggest challenge that has faced all of us. I think that if we are able, or if we bring in more money, if the clubs bring in more money, obviously talent development will continue to be high on the agenda of all the clubs, and we'll continue to find the right talents to fill in the void. What's most important again, Carl, is that when these players travel beyond the shores of Ghana, value is added onto their quality, and most of them find their way back to serve the country. So it will always be a win-win situation if we manage this process properly.
Some of the critics have said that KURT used to be part of us, but when KURT moved over to the FA, he became a new breed and a new entity. How do you respond to that?
Well, I don't know whether I fully understand that, but KURT is always KURT. I preach what I believe in, I stay with what I believe in, and I try to woo people to believe in what I believe in. And obviously, if you're a journalist, your perspective of how football management is will be different from when you sit in the seats. Okay, when you are in the heart of management of the sport, the perspectives, opinions are quite different, and that's where people may not really understand some of my positions or the position that sometimes I do take. But as a person who grew up through the ranks, having studied journalism, marketing, hospitality management, I stay in the line of being a true professional.
It's interesting. I mean, I look at, for instance, the Division 1 League and lack in quotation marks of sponsorship, as it were, and then I get in touch or I speak with various club owners, and some of them are throwing up their hands in terms of moving this forward to save our passion as you knew in your time. When I say in your time, when we were much younger, on the other side, what is the plan there for the DOL clubs and then the one below them? And there I say,
okay. So Carl, before I speak about DOL, let me speak about the Premier League again. Okay. One of the commitments I have made to the Ghanaian sporting fraternity or football fraternity is to allow or to ensure the creation of an independently managed Premier League. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we have started that process. So when it came to office, going back again, my responsibility was to convince the ESCO to believe in my vision. Okay, and one of those visions was to ensure an independently managed GPL. So that went through with the ESCO's blessings. We formed an advisory committee, the committee chaired by Toby Afede. The 14th, I submitted the report. In the next few days, an implementation committee will be rolled out by the executive committee. And what that means is that gradually, beginning from next season, we will move into that era of an independently managed Premier League. The company will soon be registered, and every phase of our football agenda will roll out. Now, Division 1, we have 48 Division 1 clubs. We took over a status that said that we should reduce the numbers to 18. We started that process. Some of our clubs were not happy. We decided to shelve that idea and to re-engage. We would engage and we would find the best solution for our Division 1 league. At the end, we serve our country, we serve our members, and it is our collective responsibility to find the right solution for our Division 1 league. We need a structure, we need a format that will be very interesting and that will be very appealing to the people. If it is that we have to maintain a 48 Division 1 league, we'll look at how to make it more interesting and more attractive to the corporate world. But one thing is very clear. The more clubs we have, the less incentives we get once the cake is ready to be shared. What do I mean by this? If 48 clubs have to share $1, you can just work the mathematics out. Okay, but once we agree to stay in that, everybody will be happy.
The answer that you gave initially in terms of the Premier League, I wanted to expand on that because you answered the DOL one, so we'll put that on hold for a moment. In terms of the clubs, the Premier League clubs and those who qualify for Africa, we all know that without good club foundations, we probably won't get a good national team, regardless of the number of players we have out there. So I asked that how will the FA be able to help those clubs that qualify for Africa to, for want of better words, to be
competitive?
Be competitive, because they themselves are complaining that going from A to B, in fact, you're old enough to know that previously government used to do that funding until the club decided that they didn't want government to fund again, and then suddenly they find themselves in trouble from A to B before you get to C to play a match. And that's been the bane. We've complained to media people, they've complained to various FAs over the years. What can your FA do to mitigate this? Could you act as a barrier between them and government and say, hey, government, come on board, help us with that aspect?
So Carl, what I've always said is that the FA will continue with our support strategy that we've always offered clubs who compete on the African continent. 2, all of us must admit that competing in CAF organized competitions is very expensive. And it behoves on all of us to find creative ways of supporting such clubs who represent not only our football association but our dear country. Now, having said that, we have pitched a proposal to the sports minister, the sports ministry, We have also pitched a proposal with the Vice President of the country, and our position has always and is very clear. Our clubs do represent the country when they compete in CAF organized competitions, whether it's the Confederations Cup or in the Champions League, for which reason there's a need for a clear policy of how such clubs can be supported when they represent our country. It is an agenda that we intend to push and to chase, and to ensure that the clubs who represent our country, just like any other entity that represents the country, get support. Such clubs are supported by the nation. And this fits into the sports minister's agenda of setting up a sports fund, and this is what I've always called for, because as a country we need to look at creative ways of funding sports and football for that matter in this country. And once the sports fund is rolled out, I am very positive that our clubs will get more financial support. It will be very clear to every club the levels of support they can get if they are to represent the country, and representing the country brings multiplier effect, or has a multiplier effect on the entire football fraternity. So we would forever encourage clubs to represent our country once they do qualify.
Interesting, Kurt, because there's also this narrative out there that says that the Ghana Football Association is, should I say, the Men's Football Association. This narrative is supported by the former national athlete, Nadia Eke, who wrote on a scathing criticism of not necessarily the FA, but wrote in the FA as well, of the government, saying that when the Black Stars qualified, bang, you are Jubilee. But what, 2 weeks or a week earlier, the women had qualified. Nobody called them to Jubilee. What would be your response to Nadia? She's a former triple jump.
Well, I would not want to speak to what she said. What I know is what I'll speak about. What I'll speak about is that this FA has paid more than enough attention, and will continue to pay attention to women's football. And if it is about visitations to the Jubilee House, it's all about arrangement and availability of the people, and availability of personnel also from our end. And in this instant case, the Black Princesses have indeed visited the Jubilee House. Okay, whether it happened yesterday or the day before yesterday, or it will happen tomorrow, what's very clear is that attention is being given to women's football across all fronts. And visitation to Jubilee House obviously is an incentive strategy for every national athlete. And once they did qualify, there was always an arrangement for them to visit.
Okay, good stuff.
The seat of government.
Good stuff. Okay, so we are moving this discussion forward. There is this situation before the Nations Cup. The president met with you guys and then spoke about finding $25 million in terms of sponsorship for whatnot. Obviously, it didn't go too well. I'm not too sure whether we got the $25 million. But what's the plan now? Particularly since the presidency is interested in this World Cup that's coming up in November, December. And not only the presidency interested in it, but the ministry is also, from my perspective, taking another posture. So, what's the plan for the build-up to 2020 and 2022 November, December?
Okay, so as we speak, we have two national teams that have qualified to the World Cup. First, the Black Princesses, who will be in Costa Rica in the summer, and their agenda is high on the agenda of the FA. The Princesses will have to be prepared. It's important that we ensure that they are very competitive. It's important that we ensure that they have the right personnel on all fronts, technical, playing body, and to ensure that they go to the Mundial with one singular vision. And the vision is to go beyond the group stages. The vision is to go as far as possible. Okay, the vision is to look at the trophy and see if they can bring the trophy here. So that'll be the first part of our thoughts, the Black Princesses. Then beyond that, the Black Stars have also made it to the World Cup. And once we we went through, obviously, we started looking through, i.e. plans to put together to ensure that we have a good team that will go to the Mondial to make our dear country proud. Plans obviously would include competitions, would include friendly games, would include finding creative ways of motivating the players and think our staff, would include making sure that they have a good campaign environment to have the peace of mind to be competitive, and would also include ensuring that the entire nation gets behind the team.
Having said that, one key aspect of this November December World Cup is we only have 1 week. And if I'm right, FIFA has approved that because I've read it. Only 1 week. I thought it was really going to be 10 days. There's only 1 week. So the clubs in Europe are playing their matches. And let's assume that the tournament starts on a Friday. It means that Saturday, Sunday, as you say, actual ball. Once the ball is over, it's when they release them. I know that the FIFA law says that the nation playing must get there at least 5 days before their opening match. But then looking at the timetable and the period you have, you've only got June to do Nations Cup qualifiers. Then you've got September to do Nations Cup qualifiers. That's it. And suddenly we've got new players in the squad, and I mean new players. Look, the one that played against Nigeria in Abuja. Yeah, the only 2 people who have played in the Nations Cup before, and 1 who have played in the World Cup before. All the rest, the more or less, when I say new, you know what I mean by new. Yeah. So what can you do to help mitigate this disastrous FIFA 1 week before the tournament? So giving us 2 weeks.
I think that, Carl, it's a massive challenge to all the qualified countries, to be honest, especially the African countries, given the fact that the European leagues will be in session during the time of the World Cup. I anticipate that most of the European countries will take a break from their leagues, and perhaps that will be hugely beneficial to the African countries. But we have to plan with what we have. Clubs are expected to release their players 1 week before the tournament, as we speak. And it behoves on the KURT team to plan accordingly. We faced similar problems when we last competed in the AFCON. Unfortunately, that had a tail-end effect on us, especially because our team was quite new. We couldn't compare ourselves to countries that have had their teams for a while. I hope that we don't face similar problems again going forward. Like I said, the signals are that most of the European countries will take a break from their domestic leagues to be able to prepare for the Mondial, and Ghana will take full advantage of that. We want to take advantage also of the AFCON dates to prepare and to get our squads to compete in those AFCON qualifiers. That will be part of the preparations for the World Cup. And hopefully we should get a friendly game or 2 in the last days before the tournament is started.
As the African nations united here in terms of the build up to the World Cup, and so therefore if they could tell FIFA, please, we need 10 days, we need 14 days, rather than just accept with hook, line and sinker.
I think by virtue of my position on the CAF ESCO, we've had a chance to engage the CAF president. When I say we, I'm talking about the African countries who have qualified for the Mondial. And I think our message is quite clear. We need enough time to prepare in our attempt to make the African continent proud. I think that these discussions will continue, and hopefully we should find a solution to a problem that faces not only Ghana but the rest of the 5 African countries who will be at the Mundial. I think that the president of CAF would listen. I think that he will definitely pitch our position with FIFA, and I should be positive, or we should be positive.
Does this FA trying to get football to a higher level in terms of professionalism, are you factoring in bringing in foreigners to, when I mean foreigners, I don't mean African foreigners, with all due respect to them, but where we have the mature leagues, bringing them in to do a case study of what pertains here as per what pertains there, but within the context of the cultural setup we have here, and get some changes made. Because, for instance, for the first time in this country, I saw VAR in Kumasi. I saw VAR in Lagos because FIFA had insisted. Bang. FA, do we have the materials? Do we have the VR equipment to help out with the TV companies? And then my worry then too is, if we do, how safe is it? And I'll mention towns because I don't want anybody to be offended, but at certain venues, like what I saw in Abuja.
Well, okay, so Ghana is one of the leading countries who are going through the process to use the VR strategy. I know that in one or two African countries, VR is already present in their leagues, Egypt being one. But our referees manager, Alex Kote, has been in the forefront of talks with FIFA. And we are exploring the possibility of deploying the strategy here in Ghana. What is true is that the VR equipment is very expensive. And we'll need somebody like Cartofo with a deep pocket to finance such an adventure for the Ghana Football Association. But we believe in the end vision. The end vision is to work towards introducing VR. And I'm very positive that we will find a solution to this. But one thing we have to admit is that, yes, it is very good. It is very helpful to the development of the modern game, but it is capital intensive.
When you say capital intensive, can you give me a vague idea so that I can put it before my...
No, I don't want to frighten you, so you just...
No, it will help.
The areas will say Begidi.
But it will help, wouldn't it? Good, it will help.
Some thousands and thousands of US dollars.
No.
British pounds.
Thousands is a really vague. If you could tell me, is it the 6-digit one or the 5-digit one? That would help.
Again, a bit of both. He doesn't love that answer, you know.
I won't. Well, you know me long enough that I won't let you go there. Just give us a rough estimate. I mean, it helps out. It lets people know.
So in recent times, we've having different companies coming up and working with FIFA to look at how to make more affordable, so to say. But obviously, it's thousands.
Or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. Well, that's 6-digit. Right, fine.
Yeah.
That's fine by me. Then that also means that GLT, Goal Line Technology 2, we haven't had two people speaking tonight because it seems as if VAR
has taken over.
But it's still applicable because that one is instantaneous.
Yeah.
I can foresee it in Kumasi. I can foresee it Tamale. I can foresee it Accra, Cape Coast. I don't think I can foresee it in any other place apart from those. As it stands right now.
In terms of the security challenges,
absolutely.
Well, I think that we would get there. Once we are ready to roll out such a strategy, obviously that will also come with a lot of engagements across all fronts, across all levels, and people will be responsible for the deployment of the equipment. We will get there, I believe.
Okay, you're somebody who was with the Ghana League Clubs Association at some time, or working with them in one phase or the other, gradually moved up. followed the likes of Nana Butler, Jawula, to the head honcho of the FA, as it were. What's the relationship like right now? How's it like?
With the League Clubs Association?
Yeah.
It's always been good.
So more hanky-panky, more, what is hanky-panky, more people nagging you?
I think there's a clear understanding about our individual and collective roles. This is very, very clear. And since we took office, my similar vision has been to work with all industry players. Okay, so we've not only been working with the League Clubs Association, we're working with the PFAG, also with the RENFAC, also with the Referees Association of Ghana. So we're virtually working with the supporters unions, the extended family members of the Football Association. So we have a very good working relationship with almost all the bodies.
Can I be a bit or a tad controversial here? I know for England, England, I don't know about the other nations, whatever monies they get, that the players for playing for the nations and whatnot, invariably goes to their favorite charity rather than to them. Could such a thing not be employed there?
Well, I think that there's a big difference in culture and perception of how incentives could be applied. Yes, it is possible, but obviously we need to go through the process of engagements with possible relevant beneficiaries and to see where a consensus can be reached. But it is possible. It is possible.
The Professional Footballers Association of Ghana, it's becoming quite an influential lobby as time goes on, and got a few guys who are quite vocal. I know you've said the relationship with them is good, but are there any plans to rope them into the FA in one form or the other? And if so, how and when?
Well, I don't know whether I fully understand your question, but we have key members of retired footballers or RENFAC working on various committees of the Football Association. The current president of the PFAG is Amiko Fo, is a member of the Black Sand Memory Committee. The General Secretary, Tony Bafo, was with us. There are two KG encounters against Nigeria. Ahimfo, Augustine, and ESCO member of the group serves on one of the juvenile committees of the Football Association. The list can go on and on and on and on. Kwame Ayu, serving on Player Status Committee. So again, we have a very good working relationship with the key players of the industry. Football belongs to the football people. Football belongs to the players. And as it is that you exit the pitch, we always have a plan as to how to fully utilize what you have by way of your quality.
But Mr. Pepe, and it's interesting, these guys can be handled, quotation marks, easily, but, and let me use my words carefully here, but the worst of them, in quote, can be quite difficult. Media, relationship, words being misconstrued, being twisted, or you throw a question and then the guy answers it and then the person is not too amused and so tries to drag it in a particular direction. What's the relationship like between you, when I say you, I mean this current FA, and the media, and how readily available is information? And when I say information, I'm putting it in light of right to information bill, which has been passed by Parliament.
Well, first of all, I think that we've had a good working relationship. A lot of us on the current executive committee are people who belong to the media fraternity. My good self, the General Secretary, Randy Abe, Amy Mado,
Communications Director, and
Asante. We all belong to the media fraternity, and I think that we've had a good working relationship, to be honest. of us have different opinions as to how football has to be run. I say this all the time, and I've always used one analogy, that we're all going to Kumasi. Somebody will decide to use Cape Coast via Obuasi Road to arrive in Kumasi. Somebody will try to use the Sohum Sound Road. Somebody will go to Tamale and try to arrive in Kumasi. But we all want to arrive in Kumasi. The fact that you use the Tamale route or you use the Winneba route doesn't mean you are wrong, or doesn't mean I'm right. So we may differ in how we want to arrive in Kumasi, but at the end we all want to arrive in Kumasi.
But some of them are vicious.
At the end we all wanted to go to the World Cup. We have made it to the World Cup, even though we all differed on how we want to arrive at the World Cup. It is also true that some are very personal in their thoughts. Some do attack my person and persons within the football ecosystem, which is most unfortunate. Once occasions do rise up, we try to engage. We try to find reasons why people behave the way they behave, but we can't change everybody. Our strategy is to try to get everybody believing in our way and what we believe in. And I believe that even though it's a very, very difficult ambition to get everybody believing in what you believe in, I believe that majority of the people believe in what we believe in.
Majority of people believe in what we believe in. In terms of the communications aspects, though, because we need to get this hankered down, as it were. There's some who've alleged that they've been here, they've been to the communication department, have not got the information, have tried to get from the general secretary, have not got the information, have gone everywhere, and so they're left with no other option. This is the story I have. I've heard from this side, I'm trying to get this side, I don't get it, so I'm going out with it. How can we improve upon that?
First of all, I'll be extremely surprised if there was somebody like that. I'll be extremely surprised, because this FA has been very, very open. We have a communications department, a revamped communications department who work overtime to ensure that the FA is open to the world. We have created a lot of opportunities, or communication opportunities. The website is a revamped website. It's a way to communicate to the world, to the people, to our key and direct stakeholders. We introduced other products like the GFA News, which is aired every Friday on social media platforms. It's also a means of communications. In most recent times, we introduced the FA app, which is also an online representation of the Football Association on mobile phones, etc., etc. The General Secretary is always available to answer questions. I think that we've been very, very open, as it is, or as and when the comms department will have to go physically to media platforms to explain issues. I think they have not reneged on that strategy at all. So I think that the communications department has done extremely well. That is not to say there's no room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, and we try to find other creative means of sending out the right information to the people. Don't forget, we also introduced what we call the Media Press, where we open up again various departments of the FA to meet the media, for the media to ask questions, etc., etc. The last one was held, I think, in the Ashanti region. So we will continue in that line. Obviously, everybody is expectant. Media persons would want the information as and when it happens immediately. There are times that we decide to hold on to information a bit for very good reasons. For example, I mean, you remember the hue and cry about we not releasing the Black Stars squad prior to the game against Nigeria. And honestly speaking, I was very much surprised about the outcry and the way people reacted, because I say to myself that yes, we have a community that we serve, which is the media, which we have a community that we serve beyond the media, which is the direct partners of football in this country who are always on the lookout for information. But there are no timelines to release of squads. There are no timelines. You can decide to release your squad prior to any game 4 weeks before, 8 weeks before, 10 weeks before, 2 weeks before, 1 week before, or you don't release the squad at all. But the truth is that there are no deadlines, okay? And in this instant case, we had decided on when to officially come out, and we did come out. So I will just play with everybody that, look, we may differ again on how we want to arrive in Kumasi, if we all want to arrive in Kumasi, but at the end, we all will definitely arrive in Kumasi. I think that because of the nature of the game, people were very anxious, people were very expectant to see who would be the gallant warriors to defend our proud colors. So everybody was on tenterhooks waiting to know what the squad is. But I think that at the end, whatever we did justified the result that we got.
Right, we'll go for a short break. When we come back, Mr. President, we will try and round it all up, but we'll also look at whether there's a need for the Black Stars Management Committee. Then I'd like to expand a bit on what you just said in terms of whether this is going to be a feature now for this FA that maybe 1 week before or 5 days before, then they'll announce the name. So we'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere.
More than ever before, football fans demand unique insight and analysis. The Football Review is much more than a highlights show. Bold, provocative editorial that goes beyond conventional reporting, setting the agenda for football discussion. Champions League, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Liga 1, and much more. 2 episodes every week, delivered each Monday and Thursday. Want genuine insight with hard-hitting editorial? Need compelling premium football content? The Football Review. Best, bar none.
He scores!
It contains the issues. That's when the president himself paid for all the tickets. That's about almost $40-something thousand. He paid everything. That's Nana Adedankwa Akufo-Addo.
The topics as well.
Leading score in NBA history, passing Kobe Bryant.
The details.
We've moved from we won't allow our daughters to play to now come and take my daughter to go and train.
I love that.
But it has to be a hobby in every corner of the country.
Either local or global, they are firmly rooted inside it.
You can never teach old dogs new tricks. Football without balls is no football.
This entity is not. It's misrepresentation.
In fact, it is the file.
That letter that cast abroad, they almost insulted the FA. If you read up to 63 here, it's even more dangerous.
Watch the file on GTV Sports Plus, Mondays to Fridays at 10:30 to 12 midday. For the facts and all the details, check the file on GTV Sports Plus. The file, it is said and heard here.
To put faces to the eye-catching talent in the Ghanaian women and men's leagues while having on-the-ball analysis every other week of the riveting actions across the country.
What a goal! This is an opportunity. Good save by goalkeeper.
Premier League players are spoken to so far. I feel that everybody is so confident that this season has something very new.
Clearly, it shows that the target is the obvious target for most of the players. Are in the top 6 or in the top 4?
Only please, we don't want anything. We just want to beat Hearts and Kotoko and we are done. We are okay. Even if we go to relegation, we don't care.
Join me, Abigail Senasotu, from 1st April and every other Saturday at 4 p.m. on GTV Sports Plus, together with my guest, as we bring you the best review and preview of the beautiful Ghanaian game. This is our league.
Let's cherish our own.
Right, welcome back to the program. And as I said, my guest, very privileged and honored to have the president of the Ghana Football Association, KURT Okraku. That is KURT Simeon Okraku. Why he made the KURT the first name, we'll ask that at the end of the program and not the Egglin, because in the days that we were born and were growing up, we know that they take a pure English name. I don't care if it's English, but a pure English name like Egglin to start, then everything else will follow. Okay, that's good. Let's continue from where we left off. I'm going to talk about the Black Star Management Committee, whether there's a relevancy for it now. But in light of what you said concerning the release of the names of the Black Stars and things, good. There's no hard and fast rule on it. So is that the standard that the current FA is going to be doing? 5 days.
What I can say for a fact is that anytime the squad is ready, we would release the squad. Anytime the squad is ready, we would release the squad.
Normally, I think you would have an idea from Mike 13 saying that you would have an idea of the squad like 2 weeks before time.
Well, it depends, to be honest. And in this instant case, a lot of factors went into the decision to release the squad the day the squad was released. So I think that we all have to be patient. We know that people love the Black Stars. People will always want to see the squad, and the squad will always be given to the people. We just have to be patient a bit.
Okay, so the answer that I get from that is that as and when you decide
the squad will always be released.
But the squad is ready to be done. It's left to you.
Because there are moments that we've released the squad 2 weeks before the game.
Okay.
There are times that, like the one we were speaking about, 1 week before the game, we came out with a squad, and it was for very good reasons. We were preparing against S1 rival Nigeria, and every factor counts in such encounters, and it was always important for us to make sure that at least we control what we can control and leave out what we cannot control, quote and unquote.
How did you feel when the video on WhatsApp of Amokachi walking on the Abuja pitch and rubbing a tin with a selfie and telling people that we've got our pitches ready, we've got everything ready, but the other guys, how did you feel? And then when we met him at the stadium, if he was there, you went to tell him with all due respect, one finger at him.
I mean, again, it's a Ghana versus Nigerian game. Okay, it's a derby, and a lot of ingredients go into that soup, and the pre-game hype is part of the excitement. And they decided to do the way they did. We decided to do the way we did, and we decided to motivate ourselves in a different way. At the end, when we arrived in Abuja, when I met my boys, I said to them, we are here, this is the pitch, we're taking absolute control of this pitch. And we did take absolute control of the pitch. Whether it was a green pitch, it was yellowish, it was violet, both sides played on that pitch. And at the end, a team that was well structured, a team that was better managed, a team that was well focused and very motivated, qualified out of the 2-tie.
So what would you like, for instance, that there was probably a threat to take the game away from Ghana altogether after the Cape Coast fiasco? When I say the Cape Coast fiasco, you know what I mean by the match 6. And you can't say, but I can say because I'm not part of the rubbish that actually took place without them covering even the pitch. And then sadly, there's an idea that if we go to Benin or go to Morocco,
to be honest, Carl, we had to pull every string. We had to work overnight to ensure that Ghana, our beloved country, had opportunity to play here in Ghana. If you heard about stories of Ghana possibly playing beyond the shores of Ghana, that was true. Because clearly the Kumasi Sports Stadium was challenged, and the Kumasi Sports Stadium is still challenged as we speak, because we cannot host games at the Barra Sports Stadium as of today. If
that's international games,
if the defects that has been aligned by CAF and FIFA are not fixed, okay, so we had to work overnight. Indeed, at that time when we had the ultimatum, the sports minister, as he has always been, was with us throughout, and the National Sports Authority was able to meet some of the the demands of FIFA at that point. So the game was given the nod to hold the game in Kumasi. But beyond that, if we were to engage in any international competition today, we will play outside the shores of Ghana.
It's that deep because I'm saying this because I remember the chairperson of your what's the official name? Banyako. The chairperson of the committee. Club licensing, thank you. And they actually went and wrote a beautiful report on Kumasi, saying that it was quotation marks, for what or better was not fit for purpose. They descended on them like a ton of bricks. With all due respect, I didn't hear the FA defending them. Because they descended on them like, and I mean the sports authority and other supporters and whatnot.
Well, I think that, Carl, one position that I've always held, and which I would always keep, is that every player in the football ecosystem must fully understand and must understand our roles and what we are expected to play. Owning a football facility in this country does not warrant that competitive games can take place in that facility. The facility has to meet certain minimum standards, okay, and the certificate of award as to if the facilities can hold games is or lies in the bosom of the club licensing committee, not what you, Carl Tufo, believe in, or not what I, as the president of FA, believe in, but what the club licensing committee asks of you, okay? And at that time, yes, the stadium was made available, but once the stadium was available, it was again the responsibility of the club licensing committee to conduct the necessary inspections and to issue licenses to clubs. At that time, when the inspection was conducted, the stadium couldn't pass, and that was the truth. And that's why the club licensing committee did not award the license for the usage of the Lion Sports Stadium at that time. People have their opinions, and they can stay with their opinions, but the truth and the legal and the minimum standards as per the owners of various competitions that we all participate in will always stand. And if it is that Ghana has to compete in CAF organized competitions, CAF would always send their licensing committee or their licensing team to come and conduct due inspection. And if it is that the facility doesn't meet the minimum standards, we will not be issuing the license. As we speak, if today we are to compete in any competition, no stadium in Ghana can host.
But in Cape Coast?
No.
No, I mean the pitch has been improved now.
No. It has to be re-inspected again by CAF.
Wow.
Yeah. So we don't have a stadium currently, as of today. If, for example, the Black Stars have to play a friendly game today, or the Black Satellites, it will be problematic.
Can I be mysterious? And I asked you a question, I remember very well, at the one-on-one that we had in the build-up to the election in 2019. Kurt, in light of what happened then, do you now not believe it's an expedient for the FA itself to have its own stadium? I know you said that some FAs didn't have their own, yes, but I also told you that Wembley was owned by, and even though they knew 3 years ago that they were going to have railway repairs, and that trains coming from the northeast and what will have problems, they still will play the semi-final of the FA Cup there. It brings some of them, they do work concerts. In light of you guys always having to go and plead with Sports Council, the long-term objective, wouldn't it be better if you had your own? And then maybe you had a legacy there. Kurt built that stadium.
Carl, to rent a home and to own a home would always be two important decisions one has to take. And obviously, every individual will want to own their home. Is that not the case?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a direct answer to your question.
So in effect, you want to, but you are
That's a direct answer to your question.
No, I want to come from you because
That's a direct answer. Renting and owning are two distinctively distinct entities, and one would always want to own. You want to own your own home. You don't want to pay rent to landlords.
We all want to own our own home, but then if we don't start somewhere, we'll forever be paying to landlords.
So the end vision would obviously be to own your own facility. We know the road will be rough and muddy sometimes, but we'll get there.
Oh, see, sir.
Yes, we'll get there. That's why I love that track.
Right.
You know that track.
Yeah, I certainly do because I play old school music, so that's it's It's 1972. Those who don't know. Okay. There is this other aspect. There's been some criticism of whether there's a relevancy now for a Black Stars Management Committee. The General Secretary, the Deputy General Secretary, the Communications Manager, the Vice President of the FA could do the job that may not necessarily be done or is being done by a Black Star Management Committee. Do you share that view?
Okay, so I would say that finding the right people to manage an entity like the Black Stars would always be the big challenge of any leadership of the Football Association. And one must be quick to say that managing any national team needs a lot of quality personnel, especially because of where we come from, especially because we operate on a continent different from another continent. The role of the Black Stars Management Committee, just like any of the committees managing the various national teams, is very relevant. And if you look at the build-up to the game in Kumasi and the game in Abuja, you would appreciate. And here, I'll do my heart out to my vice, Mark Addo, and the rest of the management committee of the Black Stars. They did a fantastic job. Details I cannot spew out here, but they spent sleepless nights planning, strategizing, implementing, and ensuring that our Black Stars is what it looks like today.
When you were growing up and you were a kid, you used to, quotation marks, love Hearts of Oak. Now you are in this unique position. But the team that you loved, team that you supported, and I was with you in the studio and the stadium on December 2000. When you look at what is transpired, when I say what is transpired, not as if it's negative, but the club struggling in this league, 12 points behind the Asante Kotoko. Yet they are supposed to be the two biggest clubs. Whether that is true right now, I don't know. But they're supposed to be the two biggest clubs, and so therefore, how do you feel? I know you're supposed to be neutral, but feel free. How do you feel? Because it was your club. I was a Kotoko guy. You were Hans guy. We used to have banter, lots of it, Kurt. You, myself, and the other, we used to fight in quotes. Let nobody make that mistake. Fight in quote. What does it feel like when you see your heart struggling? And I mean really struggling this particular season.
Okay, I think that Hearts of Oak has had kind of a ding-dong journey story, okay? Especially if you look at the glory years of 1999, 2000, 2001, 2000, up to 2005, where Hearts of Oak completely dominated everything, not only in Ghana, but also on the African front. And then the club went down trophyless for a long while. But we saw a resurgent Hearts of Oak last year. Don't forget, a year they completely dominated the Ghanaian football scene, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously, one expected them to continue in that in that path in this new season. This new season has not been very stable, and like you already said, they lie below the top.
Top four. We're actually fifth now.
Fifth on the league table. But there's one thing which I would want to highlight here. On the pitch, Hearts of Oak this year have not been the best like they were last year. But if you want to look at the levels of investments that is currently going on, and I liken that to what is happening at the Football Association here, fixing the very foundation of the team, the investments in Pobiman. I just want to believe that the future of this club will be much better, not too far away from here, because I believe in fixing the foundation of every entity. And when you get the fundamentals right, you can build the tallest high rises you want in the world. Okay, and this is what is happening to Hearts of Oak. I would want to believe that just like any traditional club, the fans want victories week in, week out, and this is what they're not getting. But don't forget that having been so successful last year, competition levels, appetite levels have gone up, new players have arrived, and they need to fix the puzzle again. Okay, I only want to believe that supporters will fully understand what is happening and be patient, especially with the technical team, because this is the same technical team that won everything last year. And all of a sudden this year, there are discussions about, oh, sack Mr. A, sack Mr. B, sack Mr. C. People have to be patient. Look at where we are today as a country. 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, everybody was like, oh, look at the Black Stars. They were not good enough. They came out of the group stage, blah, 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 blah. Today, 360 turn around. So I'm saying that it's important for us to be patient. When it is that a club or a sporting entity is struggling, that is when you need the 12-man, the unifying factor, to come into play to ensure that they go back to their winning ways. And I believe that Hearts of Oak, over time, will get it right. The future looks bright because of the current investment. And I've always said, I said it at the function yesterday, if we want our tomorrow to be good, we need to ensure that we sacrifice our today. And this is what is happening in the club.
Moving from the club to the national level, where the focus is now, and the national team. I mean, having quotation marks Sansulu, what was the feeling then? Were you at the point of giving up after the Nations Cup?
No, never.
Because I can imagine. I was
disappointed as a leader of this family. I am very disappointed. But as the days rolled by, I got a clearer picture of what had happened. And I was sure in my mind as to what we have to do. Fortunately, I have an executive committee who have been very supportive of my ideas. And we all decided to go in a certain way. And I think that we are in the right way. I've always said that the road will be muddy, but we'll get there.
You've got to Qatar. People are dancing a happy jig from Tamale to Accra, from Gambaga to
Timbuktu.
Fantastic. From Axum to Aklayo.
Fantastic.
But I'm saying I'm putting all these cities in because Kurt, when I was growing up, when we were growing up, there was a basis in which one had hope. And that basis was that Colts football was thriving and was a genuine source of player movements to replace those who either grown old, lost form, or gone out. What's the situation like now?
The general football?
Yeah.
Colts football?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that I pride myself as a Assistant FA President who chairs the National Juvenile Committee. And I'm happy about what we're doing. I'm happy about the fact that the sports, juvenile football, is back again, being played in every district. Juvenile players getting the opportunity to play on AstroTurfs across the country. Juvenile players being seen across the country via TV platforms because games are televised. And in saying this, let me say kudos to Media 7 for all the support in televising juvenile football in the country. Max TV, very supportive of our agenda to promote juvenile football via our relationship with KGL, who signed a 5-year sponsorship worth $1 million for juvenile football. This is unprecedented. The result is that the National Interclub Champions League was revived last year. This year we will repeat the same competition again, and we'll also introduce the Interregional Challenge Cup, which is what you used to know, like Greater Accra 11 versus Ashanti 11, etc., etc. We will also introduce a policy that allowed every Premier League club and every Division League club to own a juvenile club. We also introduced a policy that allowed juvenile players to play directly in the A teams in the Premier League and Division 1 and also play in the Juvenile League. So there's more visibility for juvenile players in the country. There's more attention, more logistics. Don't forget, we also invested $100,000 last year in the purchase of footballs for grassroots football. This year, we have again invested $100,000 in the purchase of footballs, which will also go into grassroots football development. So I think that, yes, you call it coast football, we call it juvenile football, but juvenile football, coast football is on the rise.
Listen, we were born in the 90s, we were not born in the 20s.
And let's not forget also, we also introduced what we call the Academy Young refereeing policy.
Okay.
Identifying kids at a very early age, kids who have the passion to officiate games, and really taking these kids through various levels of training and offering them the platforms to start plying their trade very early. The result is that in the last KGL U17 championship, all the match officials, referees, and assistant referees came from products from the Academy Young refereeing policy. U17, U18 to U15 officiating these games. As you speak, in every region we have products of the Academy Young refereeing strategy. Currently we have about 7,000 kids in this new family, and they are officiating juvenile football, coast football across the country. Some are even officiating Division 2 games across the country.
Why? Are you a psychic? Because you've taken my question away.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because I was going to go in that direction. But having said that, then if that's the case, what about the coaching aspect of here? What is the coaching policy of this FA? Because unfortunately, we're not the only ones. There are others. I'm sure Kwame Nkrumah will be turning in his grave. Foreigner at the end of the day. And to be frank with you, those who are quite wary of foreigners, even though I believe that the best should handle, is that they don't want us anything apart from Autofesa. Yeah, apart from Autofesa. So what's the policy here? Getting them from going out there. We've sorted out referees. Hallelujah. Coaches.
No, we are sorting out referees. We're not fully sorted out.
Okay, sorry. It's a long sorting out, yeah.
So we, again, with the end vision of fixing the fundamentals, we set up the Thinker Directorate of the Football Association. We brought in Bernard Lepe to be the head of the directorate to ensure that the directorate is fully set up for us. Because since we started playing football, we've never had a Thinker Directorate in this country. We've always had a technical director who in most recent times have been Mr. Otia Kempton, who's been working or who worked in that department all alone. Okay, and if you understand football, you would also understand that one man cannot manage the technical directorate of any football association. In fact, when Bernard Lepe started work, one of the first memos he sent to my table was the fact that I needed to recruit 26 people to man different portfolios within the technical directorate. 26. So if for all these years, the technical directorate was manned by one person, and today we are being asked to employ 26 people, then you will fully understand that we have really struggled over time. Having said that, because of reasons beyond all of us, we've not been able to run training courses for coaches across the country for 3, 4, 5 years. So what we did was to bring back all the licenses again. We did refresher courses for license D holders, license C holders, license B, and now they are doing it for license A, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Beyond that, we've brought back the coaching license D. We brought back the license A, CAF license C, and now we're going to run CAF license B and CAF license A. That is one part. Another part was for us to identify good and qualified people who will be trained as coach instructors.
Okay.
Coach instructors are like coaches of coaches. So we identified the coach instructors and they went through training. And these coach instructors are the ones conducting all the coaching trainings across the regions. Beyond that, we also had a large pool of our national team coaches being taken through special training. The training was undertaken or was led by the renowned UEFA instructor, Eric Topmuller.
Oh, okay.
We brought him here. He camped our national team coaches and they went through training. That's all part of the agenda to add value to coaching in this country. Now, there's another aspect of adding value which we are currently working on, which is also to open up to get coaches from here to go to other jurisdictions to learn and to have knowledge. Because football is very dynamic, especially in Europe and in South America, it's evolving at a top speed. And if we want to catch up, it's always the need for us to have the opportunity for attachment opportunities and to attend seminars and whatnot. So that's another level of the coaching developmental strategy that we are currently pursuing. It's unfortunate we had to lose a golden generation of Osam Dodus, Afanis over a 2-year period. And what we realized was that there was no plan B. Obviously, we had another generation in Didi Draman, Maxwell Konedu, Ibrahim Tanko, who were close in filling that gap, but 3 of them, 4 of them, not enough. So we know that we have to do more investments in coaching, and we even intend to encourage younger folks to start coaching quite early, also at the juvenile level, to ensure that we develop the passion well and people get a lot more knowledge at a very young age.
KURT Edwin Simeon Okraku, thank you very much.
Alias Obibami.
You don't have to bring old and for you folks who don't know, Obibami was a Nigerian footballer, right winger. KURT and I saw him in the 78 Nations Cup and he was absolutely phenomenal, brilliant, and the 18 Nations Cup as well. But KURT, thank you very much for giving us this privilege to have a thorough chat with you on the future for Ghana football as we go on, as we stay on. Next year's elections is around the corner. That's 2023. Any idea when it will take place exactly?
No, I don't know yet. Okay. I'm not thinking about the elections.
Okay.
It's far away. I'm thinking about our journey in the Ghanaian game, how to make the game much better than we came to meet. At the moment, obviously, I should be very grateful to our fans in the central region who helped a lot in our journey towards Qatar. I must also be grateful to our big chief, Asante Heni, and the elders of the Ashanti region for the way they received the team when the Black Stars went to Kumasi. and played so brilliantly against the Super Eagles. I'm sure Carl, we've never seen the Blasters well structured like we saw them in Kumasi and we saw them in Abuja. I must also be grateful to the number one fan of our national team, the president of the country, his vice, the chief of staff for all the support. I must be grateful to my sector minister who has been amazing. I call him Alaji World Cup. Honorable Mustafa Yusuf, who has always been there. My executive committee here at the FA, who despite all the challenges have stood very closely to me and with me. All the people, the chief imam, the priests, everybody, all the people who've been so prayerful for us. I mean, I think that the list can go on and on and on, but we've had amazing people praying for us on this journey to stardom. We've had people going out of their way to do extraordinary things. And for the first time, I want to say thank you to my chief of staff.
Who's that? Pray tell.
For all the support.
I wish you could mention his name.
Michael Osekre.
KURT OKRAKU, I haven't said it, but I need to say it here. Congratulations once again. You qualified for the World Cup at the first attempt. And that is a mega achievement. Thank you very much for having time for us, Obo. We'll be coming back, no doubt about it. Look, folks, that's about 1.5 hours with the FA president. Phenomenal guy. He's a personal friend. Doesn't mean I don't critique him, but he's a personal friend and he's been so for. I hope all questions have now been answered concerning where we're going from here. And the most important thing for me is that when all seemed lost, he still got us to the World Cup. At least that will be to his legacy. God willing, we shall be back another time. Until then, keep your faith in football. Goodbye.